if I would have had a tool like your guys's when we were when we were rocking and rolling, oh my God, do you know how much time, efficiency, like all that stuff, headache, clarity? Dude, I used to try and have VAs when I first started before I learned a quick way that you had to hire US based writers when it comes to show notes. I used to try that. That was such a headache, man. I ran into so many
Nightmare.
systems.
I mean, that's why we made
It's
it, right? It was like, honestly, I was doing some consulting for a company, and my like view on this is like build long form pieces of content, repurpose them into all the channels that your audience is on, and that's basically how you can build the content engine.
Cody, what is cracking today, man? How you doing?
Oh, how you doing, brother? Thank you for having me,
Dude,
man. We're stoked to be here and talking with you. So
well, dude, I'm fucking stoked that you guys are on here, man. Dude, I came across guys, you guys know what's up for everybody's been tuning in for quite some time. You know what's up. Have podcasts helped hundreds and hundreds of people launch their brands with podcasts. If I would have had a tool like your guys's when we were when we were rocking and rolling, oh my God, do you know how much time, efficiency, like all that stuff, headache, clarity? Dude, I used to try and have VAs when I first started before I learned a quick way that you had to hire US based writers when it comes to show notes. I used to try that. That was such a headache, man. I ran into so many
nightmare.
systems.
I mean, that's why we made
It's
it, right? It was like, honestly, I was doing some consulting for a company, and my like view on this is like build long form pieces of content, repurpose them into all the channels that your audience is on, and that's basically how you can build the content engine, right? And so, anyways, we were we were doing that for them, and I'm like, there's got to be a way to automate all of this. So how do we basically figure that out? And that was kind of the origin of the whole company. But anyway, yeah.
bro, I can't wait to get in this. So much to unpack. So before we get into all that, man, Cody, man, share a little bit about your backstory, how you got to where you're at now, why you're so passionate about it, and share us like that origin story of why you launched Swell AI. What's the meaning behind it
Yeah.
all?
Yeah. I'll dive in. So, high level, been building companies for like 10 plus years. Started out, first things were like, I had some e-com businesses, and then some small like micro SaaS companies. Did that in college and stuff, and then ended up at a B2B marketing agency, which then evolved into I made it, went out to San Francisco and worked for like early stage funded companies there. The kind of one of the big ones that I had was I was like employee 6 at a company is one of their first growth hires, and we took it from like a $20 million valuation to 110 million in about 6 months. And so basically from there, it ended up leaving that company and was just building side projects. So my co-founder and I, for Swell AI, Max, we met at that company. It's called Rupa Health. And we were basically like always building side projects on the side. And we're both like into minimal techno and like metal and outdoors, like outdoor like skiing
Awesome.
in particular.
Sounds like a good
So
combination.
we became friends off of that. Like it was very, very specific. But anyways, yeah. So that's kind of the, my background is in early stage companies that they've built a product, they know that there's a target audience, and they don't know how to build distribution. And so that's what I would come in and do it. And I would basically help them build out that kind of go-to-market strategy. So I was doing some consulting after my real job that was for like early stage companies. And one of my kind of strategies for any early stage company that's in the B2B space is just like, if you just start a podcast, you can 0 to 1 a brand overnight, right? And an example of this is like this company was in the insurance space. They built a software product that was basically a CRM for the insurance world. And, started out, nobody in the industry knows who you are. There's no trust. And so we built this podcast, and we basically scraped all of their target customers' emails. And we just started emailing all of those people like the podcast episodes. And so in 12 months, we basically took it from like, they don't exist to like, they go to a conference and the founders, like people are coming up to them and being like, I listened to the podcast. I love what you're doing. Like they, basically like trying to talk to them. Right. And so the idea is, you're just like trying to create this long form piece of content and then, repurpose it. And so, with all that, I used to have a team of 10 people that would do this, right? Like I would do webinars, and we do podcasts, and then we chop it up into like blog posts and clips and social media posts and like Twitter threads, all these different channels that we were trying to do distribution through.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like from that, we, you know, again, I'd have 10 people salary doing this. And so, you know, the AI got good enough in like July of 2022, something changed. Like the model was just like finally at that tipping point that it's like, oh, this is actually like usable. And so all of my friends that are kind of in this, this early stage tech space, we were all experimenting with it. And I ended up reaching out to my co-founder Max and was like, hey, I'm trying to automate this thing. Like, do you think it's possible? And he's like, hell yeah, 100%. So he like threw together a product in like 48 hours. The first version was like a Google Drive folder that we had people upload MP3s, MP4s to, and then we download it, run the software locally, and then like send the content back to them like 30 minutes later. And we got our first customers that way, just like friends that had podcasts for their companies. And yeah, that was, you know, really kind of the origin. From there, we built the web application. ChatGPT dropped in December, and then, you know, January came around, and it was full force, like full sprint, and we were positioned pretty well to kind of ride that wave. And so more and more, we started out in this kind of like podcasting, you know, wedge or niche. We are, I think long term, what I'm just seeing the adoption of this is really like a content repurposing engine, or like a content marketing engine. Bro. So anyways. Yeah.
I just want to interject right there. That was where I was going to go right after this. Was like, bro, this is cool. It's an amazing tool for podcasts, but it's just so much. Dude, I'm already using it for more than just podcasts. Just to let you know.
Totally.
You can import with the video from YouTube clips. You know what I'm saying? Or import local videos. So I take, like I said, the podcast. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna chop this exact episode down into 4 to 8 YouTube clips that are 4 to 17 minutes long. And then we're going to take it and I'm going to run it through Swell AI, and it's going to bust down. I'm going to tell it to bust down a YouTube description for me, the Twitter posts, every single platform it's going to write out. And not only that, dude, here, I want to ask you questions. I brought you on.
Please go. Guys, I love it, man. I'm just going to take that clip, and that's going to be our a testimonial we put on the homepage.
Bro, it is so freaking, I'm like geeking out because like, what's so even, I want to ask you about this. It's so cool. You can make templates for whatever, guys. So like, for example, each podcast that I do, I have 3 different templates made out. I have a show notes template for all the stuff I want included for the show notes that it spits out, and it's so fucking spot on too. Then I have my social media posts that it spits out for all the different socials on how I want it to spit out. Then I have my guests' social media posts that it spits out an email for them and all their Twitter posts and all that stuff. And what's so cool is you got the templates, right? So you could build any type of template you want, but then you guys got the fucking blocks that you can do. And I went and changed like all the preset blocks that you guys did to fit exactly my brand voice and write it exactly the way I want, with a direct response style, very assertive, you know what I'm saying? And it sounds like me. It's fucking spot on. I had to do very little tweaks at all, just add in certain links or whatever. But like, it's a fucking game changer, dude.
We were stoked, man. Like exactly what you're describing is where what we're trying to build. So anyways, yeah, it didn't mean to interject, but
no, I love it. I just wanted to get that out there. When you said we see the long-term vision of it being more than just for podcasts, it's like, because you're doing it smart, right? You're niching down and doing it very smart, and it's a fucking badass tool for podcasters. But man, it's for all content creation. So what I want to ask you, man, is what were some, and I want to get into the nitty gritty, like the specifics, but I want to know a little bit more, like what were some of the hard, like when you're first getting Swell AI out there, and it's fairly new, what were some of the hard because we all know you have this great, amazing idea, this great product, boom, all right, let's get it out to market, let's go. Bam, then adversity comes and smacks you in the face, right? That's how life works. What were some of the things that you guys ran into as you guys were launching this and getting out to the market?
Yeah. Great question. I think the biggest thing, like podcasters are just a hard audience to get in front of. Like traditionally it's pretty easy to go be like, okay, find me all insurance agents and show me ads, right? Like I'm going to put ads in front of them. So what we ended up doing is I scraped all of I found a directory to pull all of the podcasters like email addresses. So we scraped all of those. We scraped all the URLs related to their companies. And then I used the email lookup software to like find, like I have like, I think it's like 500,000 emails of podcasters, right? And so then basically with that, we took it and I did a customer match list on Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn. And from that, we basically like 0 to 1 kind of the ad. But really the distribution was the hardest piece. The like biggest challenge always in the beginning is trying to figure out like, where are my customers, right? Like for every business, it's like kind of two things. It's like, do I have a product they want to buy, and like, where do they exist so that I can sell it to them, right?
Yeah.
So for this audience, that was really a challenge. I think the other piece, like a hurdle aside of it, was like, AI was really new, like just for the general population. And so there was kind of like this, like almost like a mental hurdle that people had to get over of like, oh, this can't be good enough. And there was tools out there before us, right? Like there was like definitely like some other competitors that were in the space, specifically on the like AI podcast writer, or AI writer for podcasters. And so I think for people like to like get and even the first version of the product was like garbage, right? Like it was like it did timestamps, it did like summaries, it gave you titles, and it like wrote an article. Like that was all it does. And now it's like, okay, well, now it's evolved into this whole other thing where I can build workflows. And like what we're working on now, I think I'd be pretty stoked about this, is the ability to chain prompts together. So as an example, I can be like, hey, like, write me an extremely detailed blog post outline. Now, once that's completed, then write me a extremely detailed blog post and change it into first person and write it in my tone of voice, right? So then it creates this like content output. But I basically can like, we're building this where you could chain prompts together almost in like a flow chart. So I can build these workflows into the product for content generation.
No way.
Yeah. And so it won't
Like
just be
building
like a single,
automation.
exactly. Like right now it's like just a single, I can just provide it a single prompt and it does that output, but I'll be able to basically like prompt and then like take the output that it generates and then prompt based off of that output that the AI wrote, off of step one. So,
Bro, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like,
yeah,
you're talking about,
I'm pretty
like,
hyped, man. I mean, I'm over here and I'm like, this is like, again, I've been doing digital marketing for like 10 plus years. And I look at this and it's like, okay, we're just about to, any company is going to be able to be a content like marketing company. They're going to turn it, like, I keep telling people, like, think like you need to shift your perspective. Like, think about yourself as a content, you're a content company that builds product, not a product company that makes content, right? That's the future of this.
flip it on its head.
Exactly. And so, and every company is going to basically turn into they're going to turn into a media company basically. And they have to figure out like, how am I going to do this? And we're seeing this way more, like all founders are like building a personal podcast and they like grow their like Twitter and LinkedIn accounts and all these things. But all I'm trying to do is build the infrastructure for like content marketing teams to be able to like produce all of this, like on brands, build the workflows. We're just starting to build integrations out too. Like we just added this last week, but you can send the article that Swell writes about whatever you uploaded into it. You can like send that directly to your WordPress or your Ghost CMS, like with one click. So it's just like you can publish it right to your website, like, in under 10 seconds. Like, so it writes the article, from a creator standpoint, you don't even have to you don't even think about it, right? It's like I upload my podcast and 10 minutes later I have a 1,500 word blog post that's on my website, and it's written in my tone, it's written in my voice, etc. And I can do that at scale. We're like helping some people do this on their entire back catalog too. So like say they have 300 plus episodes, and that
Which
exact
is
thing.
something that I have.
Exactly, yeah. And so we basically we do like a bulk token buy with them. And then we write all this, content about their back catalog, and then they can basically like publish these articles to their website. And like overnight, you can basically have a blog, right? With whatever that is, like 300,000 words, right? And then there's that SEO play that ends up happening and the brand that grows through that. So anyway, yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Like that, you talk about like, obviously SEO takes a little time for it to develop, but you talk about instantly like plugging in like building a hub for your website, man, like taking your SEO to the next level, dude. It's ridiculous, dude. I love it too. And I love how you guys got the transcripts where you can and it's so easy too. You just name the speakers and then it automatically populates the whole thing. And then you one click of the button. I do a SVT or SRT file or whatever it's called, but it has the different options for whichever one you like the most. Boom, one click and this there, and then bam, ready to roll. But you're talking about doing the stuff where it automatically just puts it to WordPress. That's some next level shit right there.
Yeah, dude, I think the other thing I'm excited about with this is, so like, again, just the back catalog piece. We've had some people ask for the ability to not just make content off of a single upload, but off of like multiple uploads. So imagine I can select 10 different like podcast episodes that I uploaded into Swell. And then I'm like, go, now, write me you could imagine whatever you wanted, like write me an ebook based off of these 10 episodes that are all talking about software as a service businesses. And it'll be able to generate that. So like the idea is basically like, you're going to have this content library of all of the, everything related to your business. And then you're going to be able to like query against that and make the AI do things. And like, it can go as far as like, find me like what we're building right now is the ability to find clips that are based around keywords. So you could be like, find me every clip that's related to LinkedIn ads, right? And it goes and it finds like every clip in your entire back catalog, and it will just like automatically generate like little 30-second to 60-second clips for your social media. And suddenly I have all the content for a week's worth of Instagram reels just done based off of the library that I already have. So yeah, just kind of some of the things that we're seeing that are possible and that like we're building basically. So
you're listening, if you're a fucking content creator, your mind's got to be fucking blowing up right now, dude. Like, are you kidding me, dude? That would save me so much time and hassle and headache with the keyword thing, dude, because that's what I do is with it. Like, guys, here's a simple strategy you do. You record a pod, just from the video perspective alone. You record a podcast, you post a full video as a podcast on YouTube. Then you break it down into YouTube clips that are 4 to 17 minutes long that are focused on a specific topic and keyword that you target, like Cody's explaining here. And then you take your short form videos that are like 6 seconds to a minute long, right? And that you put on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels and TikToks and stuff like that. And so you take one long form piece of content, and you bust down, and it's all the content you got to record, right? This right here, dude, would save so much time in the workflow and the process. Like I would be able to revamp the system and take it. Like, oh, dude, I can't wait. That's exciting, dude. I want to shift real quick.
Yeah, please.
What's some of the, because there's got to be some cool ones. I mean, I already got some of my own cool success stories with it, but what are some of your favorite success stories that you've seen or heard from people using Swell AI?
Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about is like I'm watching these companies build like their companies on top of Swell. So like as an example, like podcast agencies, podcast networks, and like they had a team of 10 people that were writing show notes and creating all of this, like these different content pieces so say I'm a podcast agency and I have 30 clients that I do show notes and editing, and I write articles and I write social posts, like all of these different assets that I hand off to them. That used to take my team of 10 people, like we'll just say 40 hours a week. And so it's like 400 hours of time. And we're cutting that down to like 10% of what that was previously, right? And so these companies, like they can basically like they can handle more throughput with the same amount of people that they have, and they're charging these prices that they were previously. I think over time, like we're going to see like kind of prices erode, just like they're going to get cheaper, just because like as people adopt this, they can figure out different margins.
Oh, without a doubt.
So that's one piece that's like very, like to me is super exciting, right? Is like, oh, I can like help these other business owners. Like they're doing 40 grand a month, whatever, in top line revenue. And suddenly now they can handle 5X like throughput of what they did previously, but they hired no new people. So their headcount stays the same. So like their salaries are exactly the same, but they just increase their revenues, by 5X. So whatever that is, like it's 200,000 that they're moving through their business now a month rather than 40,000. Like that to me is insane and like super exciting. So that's kind of on the like larger side. On the smaller side, I'm watching these like young entrepreneurs, like they're like 20, 21, 22, right? And they are basically using like the clip making as an example, where they reach out to podcasters and they're like, hey, I'll make you unlimited clips for all of your social channels about the podcast, and it's whatever, $250 a month, $500 a month. And they go and they get, whatever, like 20 clients, right? And they've got a 10K a month business just doing that. And like Swell is powering it, right? They upload the episodes into Swell. We highlight the sections that we think are going to be the most viral for like clips. They find the clips, they pull those out and hand them back to the client, and, they get paid, right? And so I think that's like, to me, the most interesting thing is like, how are other people basically like using the software to like make money for themselves? And just as like I mean, I imagine it's the same for you, right? Where it's like, I get to teach these people how to make these businesses, like whether it's like a content business or a creator business. And like, I get to watch them do that. Like as an entrepreneur, it's pretty sick when it's like your product is helping other people make money. Right. So anyway, that's what I think I'm most like proud about and excited about with this. So.
Oh, dude, talk about super excited. And dude, I do that, dude. It's like I shut down my agency, my podcast agency, because it wasn't, I said on this podcast for years too, it was a stepping stone, a step into what I really love doing. And what I truly love doing is coaching, right? But I had my alpha dog pound, and what me and my partner that we decided is like, I do want to get back into the agency thing, but this time I'm only keeping it like 20 people max clients, because I just want to keep it small, charge premium prices, and do a fucking bang up job, because I ran agencies with a lot of people, and when you get you got to really get those systems and shit dialed in, and when it gets so big, it's hard to really give a real custom, give your all into that one person. So anyways, that's what we want to get into, and I do exactly what you're talking about, man. It's just, you create the content using this Swell AI that makes it fucking me able to put so much more out there, and better at that, get better results with the keywords, with all the automation that's able to take the time away from me actually having to do it. And then that brings in people like, dude, are you doing your own content? Yada, yada. And then that turns into, no, man, here's what I'm doing. Here's how I'm doing it. I show people how I'm doing it in the mastermind. And then I got people like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't fucking want to do it. Can we just hire you guys to do it?
Dude, 100%. 100%. I mean,
it's a game right there.
There's this moment, like the whole, the market has just shifted with agency work. And a great example of this is the SEO space, right? So like, I watched this company go out of business that's like, they're legit. It's Lemonade Media, right? And they, like, in 6 months, basically all their clients left because they were doing a ton of content writing, like SEO content writing. That was like, from my understanding, like 60% of their monthly revenues, right? And they like basically lost their entire client base because they didn't adopt AI fast enough to like run the agency. And so, contrasting, there's this other company called Boring Marketing, and it is, I think the title on the homepage is like straight up just like, it's like SEO marketing agency powered by AI, right? And they do all of their content writing powered by AI. They build all their SOPs off of these AI like workflows that they've built. And that company, if like what I heard through back channels, is like, it's going to do like $500,000 a month by the end of the year. It's like 9 months old, right? It's crazy. And so like, and the difference is that, okay, if I like in a traditional SEO agency, I'd go pay 30 grand to hire them, right? And for that same work, I can go hire like Boring Marketing for like 3 grand. And they basically can cut those costs down that they traditionally were by 90%. And it's purely because from the core foundational level, they're building on top of these AI platforms that like assist them in that content production process. So anyway, yeah, we have a client, they charge a grand a month, right? And they like, basically they do all the podcast editing, they write the show notes, they write blog posts, they give you social media links, they do every asset generation. And like for them, it's like they have 20 clients, right? I mean, they're printing $250,000 a year. She has 2 VAs and her, right? And that's like her whole, that's the whole business. And that's the opportunity that exists right now, like to build these agencies like you're talking about, that's like small, that are really focused on the quality piece, but then employing these tools to do all that grunt labor that was, it used to be that was 80% of the work. So you can just basically like augment that in an entirely different way. And we're seeing that at just like every industry that can be touched, like that is happening right now in some way. Like these tools are basically just like, just like they're shaking up the entire agency space, the old agency world. And these companies that are starting from the beginning, they're saying, hey, we're AI powered. They're just crushing it right now. So
yeah, dude, without a doubt, man. It's and people, that's a big thing that the conversation going on is like, oh, will AI replace me? And like, no, it's not going to replace you. The people that are using AI are going to replace you.
100%. It makes them
you
super.
gotta get with it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you would take a 10x marketer and you give them AI, right? And they're a 100x marketer. And like it's the same thing with developers, right? Like I had this tweet that went viral like a couple months ago, and it was like, basically, like we've just entered the age of like $10 million ARR, $10 million a year companies with two people, right? Like it's like a really good developer and a really good marketing growth person. And then they're just augmenting all of the like previous things like with AI. Like, and we're seeing this where it's like, cool, I build a database of like how my product works. And then I can like have AI, like when somebody asks a customer service question, it just goes to the database and it finds the relative information and then it responds back to them like in a chatbot form. And like that's like everybody I know is building a version of that, right? And they're just like
Yeah,
integrating
you
these
guys
systems
got
into it.
one.
Yeah.
You guys got the dude. That's by the way, that is so dope. That feature, right? And you guys got that with the chat eight with the Swell AI chat bot for the episode that you pop right into the show notes where people can ask the bot anything about the episode and it spits out exactly the information, which is that's dope, dude. Like for people that don't want to like go through the whole thing or just want to see if it's worth the listen first, they can ask it any question and then engage it that way. Just a whole nother way to engage with the content, man. How did you come up? What made you come up with that idea, or what were you thinking about whenever you guys came up with that?
Yeah. So just to reiterate, so it's an embeddable chatbot that's trained on the transcript of the episode. And so like, and really it came from a customer. They were like, hey, we want a way for like our audience to be able to like, interact with our content. So the first version, we're like, hey, we'll build it for at an episode level. The long-term vision is we're going to have this for your entire back catalog. So imagine I'm a business coach.
So you can ask anything about the podcast.
You got it. Like list, what are the 10 books that are most recommended,
on this show?
Find me episodes that talk about hiring offshore talent. Give me the core principles of like, if I'm in a situation where I'm having XYZ HR problem, right? So I'm a business coach and I charge for access to me. This is a way for me to augment my time even further where it's like, okay, cool. Imagine I have like a page on my website. It's like a full page embed. And it's just this chatbot that's trained off of all of my previous podcast episodes, my fireside chats, everything. And I can just go and I can query it and be like, hey, I'm one of the people being coached by this person. I can go and be like, I'm having this situation go on. Like, what's the advice based off of this? And it's like, cool, here's the advice. And here's 3 episodes and the timestamps that we specifically talk about those things. So the sources of that advice so that you can go back to that back catalog and like find that information. Right. And so what I'm thinking about it, like just as like a mark, like, just why I'm excited about it is like, there's all of this knowledge that's trapped right now. And like podcasts and YouTube videos, like it's in this audio video form. And what we're basically trying to do is like create this way that we can like surface that and make it accessible to these creators. Like, I just think about like you as an example, you have an audience that's like, rabid listeners. They love what you're doing and they want like they want a way to interact with you. Like imagine you're a massive influencer too. Like you're one of these like
millions of followers.
Yeah. This is this way that you can basically create like a character AI chatbot for them to interact with you and like in a totally different way. And like the first, what's hilarious is the first version of this, it started out with like these AI girlfriends and like that type of thing, right? But like now we're seeing it start to evolve into like, oh, here's this fashion influencer. And they made this like chatbot that is them, that's trained on everything that they've ever published or talked about or any public interviews. And it creates this way for you to create like connection with your audience in an entirely like in a deeper way, right? Like instead of like one to many, like it's like now it's one to one almost in this conversational type of format. And that just changes the relationship entirely. And then if we like extend that, so that's just like for the creator. Now imagine that for a brand. And I'm like, okay, I'm a brand and like we do we do skincare or whatever, right? And we interview all these skincare like experts. And then like, here's this chatbot that people can like interact with all these skincare experts that normally they could never talk to. I'm working with this company right now and they're doing this in the women's health space. And so they're basically like recording all these episodes that are related to like women's health and just like having experts on to talk about the thing that they're experts at. Right. And long-term goal with this is like, okay, cool. We can take all of that. we're just going to make this public chatbot that like any woman that's having women's health issues in the like in the world, right, can go and basically like ask this thing questions and like get advice on like, yo, I'm having this experience, like postpartum, like what do I need to do? And then it get, basically it's like, well, this person said this and
from
this,
all that.
exactly. So
Dude,
that's the, the high level stuff that we're kind of thinking about. And as we're building, they're building all this tech out. It's one of these things where it's like there's so much we want to build. It's just what should we immediately or like quickly or most quickly. So
dude, yeah, like that's where I'm at with it right now. I'm building out my content, rebuilding my whole content machine, and I'm about like 60% there with all these new tools and stuff, right? And I'm just doing my podcast stuff, right? I haven't even touched like the video publishing part yet for a lot of it for like YouTube, but like you said, man, the what I was looking into next was those customer service bots that you say you train up on your PDFs and your Notion docs or whatever, and that's that right there saves the efficiencies. And I love what you're talking about too about the brands. What do you think about this? It's a real quick question. Like, do you feel like with the brands when we have those bots where people, whether you're a creator or business, whatever, and people can message you on Facebook and you have this AI bot responding or whatnot? Yeah, that gives them a awesome new way to interact and engage more and get to learn more and engage with your brand and learn more, discover about you, because you just don't have the capacity to answer every single person once you start growing large. What do you feel like that does to the coaches that do offer their one-on-one time? Do you feel like that increases the value of their one-on-one time even more? Because now you have this.
I mean, I think what it does is it creates a new item line that you can charge for. It's like, I'm just imagining it's like, yo, I have this chatbot and it's $10 a month, but you get access to like, that. Have you seen characterai.com? It's like it's basically this, like, it's one of the fastest growing AI things that nobody is talking about. And nobody, like, you basically can create these characters that people can go and like interact with. So imagine like I have like, Julius Caesar, right? And they take all of the writings from Julius Caesar and they basically like make this character that is Julius Caesar that you can like chat with, right? So like imagine that, but you're a coach and you're like, okay, I have all of this, I have 500 episodes of me talking about, my views and my worldview, and I can train this like character. I can make this character chatbot that is me, and then I sell access to it. So there's this like whole new line item that you can basically like charge your audience that previously you could just never do at scale, right? So that's that other piece. So then that creates like more of an entry point, like it's just another way for you to make revenue. And then up a level, you then have like that one-on-one coaching that you can even charge, you can charge all of the, probably way more for, because you're just creating more of that inbound lead. Like I just think about it like if you have, say there's 5,000 people that are talking with this chatbot, right? And then they're all like, okay, well, this doesn't have a good answer for my problem. Like, let me schedule a one-on-one appointment. And that appointment is $500 for an hour of time, right? Or whatever. Like, I've already interacted with this chatbot for 3 months. Like, I'm already bought in that it's knowledgeable, but I'm just having a unique experience that it isn't trained on or has no like idea about. So now I need to go talk to that coach, right? So the coach records that conversation. They then take it back to the chatbot and they train it on that new thing that that wasn't in there before. So it creates this loop where it's like, oh, it just gets smarter and smarter. It turns into a knowledge base, but the knowledge base is like, it's not like just like this massive document. It's like a queryable thing where I can like, it's just like ChatGPT or any of these AI tools where I can ask it about my library of information that's specific to me. And that's where all this goes. Like my view on all of this AI stuff is like, there's the AI has general knowledge. And we call that like commodity content, right? It writes to the average. Like if I say, go write a blog post about X, Y, something related to cybersecurity, it's just going to write off of its general knowledge. If there's an expert that's an expert in that cybersecurity thing, and they record an hour-long, we'll say fireside chat talking about all of their knowledge. And I go prompt AI, hey, write that same blog post that I had you write with the general knowledge, write that same thing, but based only off of this like domain expert's knowledge, right? That content that the domain expert, like the AI writes off of the domain expert's knowledge is going to be so much more like in detail, in depth, like because it's coming from that person, like that person that actually knows all this rather than just the general knowledge and information. And so I think what I'm trying to say is that like your back catalog of content is going to become more valuable than ever before, because you like, especially if you're an expert in this thing, like in this space. And so I keep telling like creators, like, you know, there's stuff that and I even do this too, where it's like, I don't talk about it in public because this is like these private things that like, I could sell access to. Also, like if it's like you're publishing on YouTube and whatever, like somebody could go and train like one of these characters off of all of your public stuff. And that's where this gets like super gray area. Like, okay, well, you know, who owns that? Like if it's in public domain, like who owns that knowledge, right? So anyway, but yeah, just kind of a brain dump of all of that we're seeing. So
no, it's genius, man. And so what I want to say to piggyback on that for you that are listening, that's already creating your content, getting it out there. Like, dude, I know a lot of you on here too. That's all we do here is build brands, right? Dude, go get on Swell AI right now. If you got a podcast, if you have a backlog, go get that stuff, start putting it in there, start feeding it in there, get your shit running on there. Just go and try it out. Look, Cody hooked us up here. You go to underdogempowerment.com/swell, get set up there and use promo code Underdog. You're getting 20% off. You can even just go test it out if you want to at first, but just trust me, get the fuck over there, right? You're going to be mind blown and start getting your backlog content put in there. And you're going to be amazed at the efficiency of how much time it's going to save you, how much headache it's going to save you. And for 90% of you, it's going to write better than you can even write. So just don't be butthurt about it. Just, you know, roll with the punches and adapt, right? So guys, make sure you go check that out. That's at underdogempowerment.com/swell, SWELL. And yeah, go get that spun up and use underdog all lowercase as your promo code. Cody, man, I really appreciate your time here today. This has been awesome. I would love to bring you back on here and let's say, like, I don't know, like 6 months or a year down the road, because I know you guys are gonna be releasing all these new features, and would love to talk about that as well, man.
I love it, man. Yeah, no, we'd love to share what we're doing, and I think there. So the last thought I'll leave you with, and just leave your audience with, like, I think we're approaching this point where like brands will be able to market themselves. And this sounds crazy even to say, but like we're doing this a little bit on the SEO side for our company. But basically, like, we had this idea, like, could a blog write itself? Like, could you just like connect the data and then it like tells you, okay, like here's the keywords that are most likely to like make conversions. Now, AI, go write me a blog post about that. And it publishes it. And then it looks at the data and it just like kind of proliferates itself indefinitely. So we're doing this right now and it's working. And I'm like, holy shit. But take that same idea and then apply it to like, you know, everything else that you're doing, like whether it's ads, whether it's, you know, all of these different channels that you're doing marketing through. And I think this is something like I'm really excited about and like curious to see where this goes. And I know some people that are building these things in the space, but like the idea is like, could I plug my business into this like marketing brain? And it just starts marketing itself, like based off of the constraints that I give it. Like I'm trying to get sales on my website, or I'm trying to get, you know, software purchases, or I'm trying to get like more subscribers to my podcast because, you know, I go and sell ads based off of my CPM or whatever. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that like, I think we're on this kind of frontier where you're going to see these companies evolve, that it's like super, like it's, you know, whatever, 5 people, but it's a multi-million-dollar media company or multi-million-dollar, you know, e-commerce company. And they're using all of these different tools to basically like do the work that it used to be 50 people. Right. And so that's kind of the moment that we're in and the opportunity that's there. I think it's easier than it ever has been to like make a business. And we could come on, man, and I could just talk like, here's all these businesses that people should make. Like one of them is like, use Midjourney to make graphics and then do print on demand, like on like Amazon and Etsy. Like I have a friend that just like, I just had him on the podcast and he told me he's like a print on demand expert. And he's like, yeah, we're going to get this like brand that we just made to 100K a month in revenue. Like their margin's like 20%. And he's like, all the art is AI generated. We're just selling it through drop shipping, like through print on demand drop shipping. And like, it's just automated, it's just passive. Like there's all of these things, like there's tons of opportunities right now, and nobody is just like a very small percentage of the population is jumping on them. So it's like, it's easier than it's ever been to build these companies. And so anyway, yeah, I'm super excited to come back. I love to do it and love what you're doing here. So however we can be helpful, let us know.
Absolutely. Cody, dude, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for creating such a badass tool with Swell AI. Dude, that thing is next level. I'll definitely be bringing you back on the show, especially as you guys put out all these new updates. Guys, remember, go check it out, underdogempowerment.com/swell. Use promo code underdog, all lowercase. Until then, I'm going to catch you guys on the next episode. Peace. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Underdog Empowerment Podcast right here on YouTube. If you're an alpha business owner and investor building a dominant brand, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss none of this heat that we put out here every single week right here on YouTube. Until then, I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace. This is Underdog Empowerment. My name is Zachary Babcock.